short. We're also offering the ability to get leverage. We felt that if we build a market where you can instantaneously short and you can instantaneously leverage up to provide liquidity, that then we will improve the amount of transactions, and we will give the ability for firms to take larger positions both on the short and long side. The people that I'm working with have a lot of experience. They've worked with me before. I've worked on one of the original ECN's group, the grandfather of crossing engines Optimark, and we've worked on a dark pool called SunGuard ATS. Our target market is retail, hedge funds, eventually buy side. We feel that we need all participants to be successful.
Q&A. Anybody jump in? Keep in mind we have 3 minutes.
Talk a little bit about regulation and how you approach it.
We're from a highly regulated environment. We deal with the SEC, FINRA, CFTC. We deal with all the compliance groups. So we're taking the point of view that we have to comply with regulations, and we felt this would be a great place to go and help define it, having done this over the years. So what we've done, we've registered with FinCEN. We're working with a local chartered bank. We're also preparing stuff to discuss with the CFTC. That we eventually feel it's going to go in that direction. And essentially the CFTC has recently issued stuff on retail FX. Anything related to synthetic currencies fall under that, under their regulations. So we feel that even though there's a lot of firms that may be trying to get in the Bitcoin space, what we've seen in the past with equities, options, and others, eventually regulators come in and the big banks come in and they basically create a huge barrier of entry of capital requirements, regulatory requirements. So we're comfortable we're from that side of the business, and we're advocates of Bitcoin, and we want to make sure that we can help, prevent that from happening. Well, today we do equities, options, futures, and FX, and we do over-the-counter securities. Bitcoins is one of it. FX, we feel, will be a strong part of that to offlay into other currencies. So we do trade others. We will trade Litecoin and other things, but we want to do it simple, something that has liquid and build up a user base, and we will extend out to other types of cryptocurrencies.
Just give us a sense of how big the business is today.
Well, Atlas, we started this about 4 months ago. We built out a whole new middle office. We're doing positions, P&L, position keeping. We've also built out things like auto market making. We felt that if we couldn't get enough liquidity providers, we will take positions and provide liquidity and take risk on it, where we've done this before.
Are you shorting alternative currencies today? Or are you planning to build that?
We have stuff today, and we built stuff specifically for Bitcoin. So, we're used to large Chicago trading groups that are customers today, and so, answer your question entirely, but. So we have our own ability to store, but we're also integrated with Ace and others as well. We've also tied it to a banking system for maintaining cash balances and be able to do automatic payments and everything else for customers. So with the bank that we're working with, a chartered bank, it would be able to automate that whole process. And the bank will handle a lot of and other things as well. One of the biggest issue we've seen with dealing with retail and institutional, one is retail. You want to make sure you're a custodian bank that segregates their money, and that you don't want to have any liability of fraud or anything else for being shut down. And in terms of institutional, we're talking funds that will have $1 million or more, and they need a safe harbor to put their money in. The difference is less transactions, and institutional and a lot more on retail. So a small bank, which we're dealing with, may in the long term, if we're doing a lot of retail, won't be able to handle the volume. We may have to change. We're negotiating that now. So Bitcoins.
Okay, so let's move into feedback. So let's start with John. John, imagine you are Sean. You wake up tomorrow morning. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Is that microphone working, by the way?
I don't know.
As long as you put it up next to your mouth, it does. Yes, John, it was working when it was next to your mouth.
It was something. Okay, 20 seconds. Next.
Whenever you're talking about an exchange or pitching exchange and you have 2 minutes, I would spend a minute on regulations. I would talk about, and if you do sign that relationship with a bank, that's huge. Everyone talks about with exchanges, you know, ability, number of trades, and all that fancy stuff, but it seems like everyone has that in their mature platforms with currency that can handle that. It's just no one's figured out the
Just the one,
You
this
can
one.
respond.
No responses, no responses.
On the regulatory side, I think the one thing I would wake up tomorrow to do is continue those relationships and discussions with the CFTC and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and really get in front of the issue. Where you've invested in some online short-term lending companies, basically online payday loan companies, and that's really the only thing that can keep your head above the water from a regulatory perspective, is having them on your side. And so the more evangelizing you can do and the more they can do to get in front of them every day, the better.
So I think it's pretty well documented, but you know, MTGOX fucked up because of their inability to follow simple regulation, and think their bank was what Coinbase had what Chase, I believe, was well publicized, and to get even a small bank on your side is something you should shout from the rooftops as soon as you can, and you should be very proud of that, because there's nothing cool in the world that can get it.
Johnny, have any other feedback? No?